Welcome back to The Truth with Trinity, and I am your host, Trinity. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I wanted to send you a warm welcome. Here I talk about issues that happen within the black community, hopefully for some type of resolution, food for thought to go about your daily way every day. So, without further ado, I'd like to jump right into today's episode topic, which is the black man a easier target than he was back in the slavery and Jim Crow era? I wanted to start off with a small disclaimer. Not every white person is racist, but yet and still we do have a very big problem in this country, America, and we can't act like we can't see it, and I'm sure others see it as well, but we also need to solve some things within our own community so that we will have a stand front to put up a stoppage of the injustice that's going on. So we have to be on our A game as a people, as black people as well. So I wanted to take a little trip down memory lane in regards to the episode's topic. Back, during the Jim Crow era, which was the era after slavery, quite a bit after slavery, but, back in, slavery times, of course, it was open season, on black men, killing them, they didn't have to have a mask on or a hood, just flat out, not only black men, but black women, we were their property, back in those times. And then, speeding up to Jim Crow era, you know, for colored signs, for white people signs, to, just being stopped, for a speeding ticket or nothing, just being stopped because you're black and being, lynched, hung off a tree, burnt, tar feathered, and just shot at gunpoint, you name it. Okay, and that kind of sounds a little familiar now, doesn't it? With some black guys, and there's some black women, but majority of, the black man being shot at gunpoint for meaningless reasons while, they stop, Caucasians, and, it's just a slap on the wrist and things of that nature. Well, one of the things I would like to point out is, when you look at the uh, the creation or why cops exist, okay, in America. They will dispute this, but the reality is cops are really not here to protect African Americans, anyone non-white. So if you're non-white, the cops are really there to protect them, and they're there to keep everybody else in order. So, that's kind of like, I think the only time that, really, majority, Caucasians would get in trouble is if they commit a crime against another white person. Okay, so, I'll reiterate that again. The cops are really not here to protect non-whites. They're here to really keep everyone else in order and to really protect the rights of white people living in this country. Okay, so getting back to my point, and how it ties into are black men a easier target than they, were back in the day. So, the black man back in the day is a totally different black man than what we have now. Okay? Back in, the Jim Crow era, especially before, crack was infiltrated into our communities, you had a hardworking black man. You had a more serious-minded black man, and you had a black man that was more family oriented, and he was more into unity. So that's not to say all black men, but this is pretty much, what was going on back then. You had a very strong black man. Okay, so let's name some instances where, trouble would, arise. Of course, by them just being black. If someone would accuse them, especially someone white, accuse them of a crime, stealing, theft, rape, even if it was false, they would be lynched or killed. And also, if they spoke up against a white person. So, if, something happened in a store, we have customer service now, but back then, if they were to say something against a white person, the same white people that they complained to would come to their house at night dressed up in Klansmen outfits with their good old boys, and they would round them up, yank them out the house. So, he would have to dress up. So the white people would have to dress up in their Klanman outfits and come into the night on their horses or whatever, and they would yank the black man out of his house, from his family, and have his way with him, whatever it was, and he would lynch him. Okay, so all the things that he had to go through, to really kill the black man. So that's not the only thing, but I want to tie it into what I'm getting to. Okay, so the black man was more so about his business back then, and now we have today where you have cops, and they're predominantly Caucasian cops. They're right on camera, so it's viral. So they're right in front of the camera, and they're just killing black men at gunpoint. And so that's why I'm asking myself, and you ask yourself, was it easier to kill us back then or now? It seems like now they're not even putting on Klanman hoods anymore. They're just outright killing us. So I wanted to give you a second to think about that. Okay. Now another thing is one of the things that we can do as a people, especially the black man, to make yourself a harder target, once again, is I encourage you to stay off the street corner. Okay? I know that's where a lot of, black men conduct their business in the black market. But that's the thing, though. That's one of the ways that's making, you an easier target to be killed. And like you and I both know, you don't have to be killed for anything. You could just be black, minding your own business, and still, be killed. So we're not going to take anything away from that. But we want to make it less. We want to make it less easier, more harder. Okay. So I encourage the black man, okay, to remove yourself from the street, because you're like a sitting target for gunplay and gun practice at the hands of the cops and whoever else with ill intentions. And that's not to say all cops are bad. So we're not going to say that. But it's definitely, hard to deny that, a lot of people with ill intentions do join the police forces to cause damage, on black people with no repercussions because of the laws that protect them. Okay, so like I said, I encourage you to stay off the streets. Okay, I encourage you not to conduct black market business on the streets. Okay, another thing that I encourage is that it's this thing, in the hood where you get arrested as a black guy, you telling your own brother. You might not like them, you may like them, but to get a harsher sentence, and that kind of reminds you of slavery in a way, because back then, in order for you not to get the whooping, massa would tell you to whip another black man. Okay, so instead of him doing the whipping, you do the whipping to your own brother, and you might get lesser time, but then he's gonna come back and capture you next. Okay, because after you've told on him, there's going to be something else, and they're going to come capture you next. And it's time for black men to have a sense of, like I said, camaraderie amongst each other, even if they're against each other. When it comes to outside forces, it's time, that you put that aside, because, as black people, we're all we have. And with any race of people, they're all they have. And it seems like we're the only group of people that are against each other to the magnitude, that we are. Okay. Another thing is another way that black men are a bigger target, I believe, is also child support. I've mentioned it before, but child support, that's another way they're really locking black men up. Okay, over this dollar bill, and they have it under the guise of taking care of your kids, but I'm watching other races of men not pay a dime in child support, but they're not being locked up, and namely Caucasian men, because the goal is not to lock them up. Okay, because anytime they lock one of their people up, it's destroying their race of people. So, and it's destroying white families. Okay, so they're not going to be so quick to lock them up. They want to make more of a profit and more money off of the black man, off of his indiscretion and his lack of self-control, which comes from the sexual appetite to go splurge and have sexual relationships with multiple women. And then you have multiple bills, and then you get bitter, and you may, call black women gold diggers or whatever. But every woman, no matter what color she is, not only is she to work, but she also needs support from the men that she had children with. The court system knows this, and by you shirking your God-given responsibility to take care of your children, they're exploiting black men, and they're saying, hey, we're going to make a profit, so we're not going to lock up Billy, for child support. We'll just give him a warning for contempt of non-payment. But if you as a black man, Malik, you're $1 behind, we're locking you in jail, because that's the main intent. So how do you get around that? How do you outsmart that? By becoming less of a target, and make sure that you're using discipline and discretion about who you're planting your seed in. Using protected, sex, if you are going to do that, and really shoot for marriage, because you don't want to have your seeds out everywhere, and having all these child support bills. Okay, it's taken down the best of men, the most wealthiest of men. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to gather up in this segment, is to basically not to be such a big target out here. And the way you can do that is by taking care of your responsibilities, staying off the street, making better choices in careers. If you want to play with pills and drugs, go to school and be a pharmacist. Okay? If you like selling things to people, go be a car salesman. And it's time that we stop throwing the excuses that there's no jobs out here. There's no jobs for the black man or woman. The truth is that if Hispanics can come over here and not speak a lick of English, okay, and they're taking the jobs, that may not be desirable, but they're putting their money together, and they're producing a way of life that was better than where they came from, and they're taking those jobs, and it's keeping them out of jail too. So I'm not saying Hispanics aren't in jail, but they're not going to jail at the same rates that the black man is, because some black men may feel like they don't want to take that job, but it may cost you your life being out there on the street corner. Okay, and like I said, this is not the whole reasoning behind black men being killed. Okay, so just think about what I'm saying, as far as the black man taking responsibility, and for his family, himself, and getting an education, and teaching his sons that out there on the streets is nothing but death and destruction. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up this segment. It's been a pleasure talking with you. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can at thetruthwithtrinity@gmail.com. In just a couple of days, I'll have my website launching, so you'll be able to contact me there. I'll put a business phone number up. You can check me out if you'd like to contact directly or anything like that. And always remember, if you can't tell the truth with anyone else, you can with the Trinity. Till next time, peace and blessings.